Alright, so I'm going to make this video because, as you can see, something has been happening lately. It's actually been happening for a couple years. Off and on, I would see things like 9/11, 11/11 all the time, all the freaking time. And other people that I've woken up, to the deception and to that symbolism and to what it means and to that kind of thing. When I was with those people, they would tell me that on their own, they would notice those things all the time. Waking up in the morning, just the moment you look at the clock, the moment something happens, just in between, you'd see those numbers would correlate. And they started to introduce themselves into almost every aspect, almost every numerical aspect of one's life. And a new number or reference or something, whether it be the date that's all of a sudden this is on, or, a work number or an ID number or a wedding or anything, or watching a TV show or checking the time or feeling a certain way a certain day or thinking about something, and those numbers would follow shortly after. And I'm making this video because what's been happening to me, and it's still crazy because I didn't plan for this at all, and none of it. I want to have no part of it. 322 is the number of the skull and bones, okay? And they also, never mind most of these ridiculous, fucking retarded images here. I don't know what any of this stuff is. But 322 is the number of the skull and bones, and it is believed to be the number of death. In the Skull and Bones secret society, which, the Masonic occult society, 322 equals 7. But, it's, to them, it's this ritualistic number. It's this, obviously, what I'm getting at here is, like, I'm not predicting anything per se, but I just want to point out and make a video because what's been happening to me a lot the past couple of days is I've been seeing 322 over and over and over and over again. And the interesting thing is, prior to that, I was seeing both a combination of 223 and 322. I was seeing those numbers all the time. And now for the past couple of days, I've been seeing 322 over and over and over and over again. It's there. And it's when, there's the misconception that because you're conscious mind, you have to remember the studies where unconsciously, your mind, your subconscious is picking up on things. Your eyes see things. So it's quite possible that the only reason I'm seeing things that I'm familiar with consciously is because I'm already seeing them subconsciously, and so then my mind is drawn to them, and because I'm awake. So it's like this, it's now like an instinct. It's like an insurance policy. Like, it's just a natural thing that will happen all the time to keep me aware of the things that I'm consciously aware about. So I understand that. But in saying that, isn't it the same thing? That regardless, I'm still consciously picking up on these numbers when they pop up. And it's really freaking interesting because literally as I was going to make this video today, I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And it turns out that my numbers on my Screencast-O-Matic recording are 322. But backwards. The number that I'm on for my recording is 223. So backwards, it's 322. Unbelievable that I feel compelled that the moment I want to make this video, the video itself that I'm recording is still marked with 322. Now, I don't know what it means, what it's trying to say, but I'm recording this now on 320 because I feel like, oh, it's still recording. Because I feel like something is going to happen, or be aware of whatever the happenings, whatever's going to happen on 322. I feel like this possibility that I'm just aware of, to be alert for something that might happen. So all over the world, let's stay alert for things that are happening all over the world on 322. And potentially, just be aware and stay alert for ourselves, wherever we are, that day if something is going to happen. collectively. Because remember, these are the Bushes, these are the Clintons, these are the Obamas, these are the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Skull and Bones Secret Society, the Freemasons. This is the connection. And these are the people that have been planning shit for the longest time. So why not use the date that marks the number of death, their number of the Skull and Bones Secret Society, the 322, March, it's March, I'm an idiot, March 22nd, okay, it's coming up, March, and again, that name, March, the March, okay, marching, there could be a false flag that calls for martial law, so you literally have that symbolism, march, street, troops on the march, troops marching the street, I don't know, but 322, there could be some big outbreak, there could be fucking rioting, there could be a wildfire, all of the things that they've been doing, okay, there could be another blackout, there could be a bomb, there could be another terrorist attack, it could be an isolated incident, just another false flag somewhere else in the world, or it could be some international thing, fucking just breaking down. It could be some, big thing just happening all of a sudden, some just thing just boiling over all of a sudden, some international dispute, whether economic or, proprietary, like something about land or territory or rights or something like that between any one of the nations that we've been arguing with for the past decade or so, prepping people for some coming World War III or disaster. So I'm not trying to fearmonger right now. I'm not trying to do fear porn. I'm only saying these things tied into the fact that the reason I'm making this video is not because I'm making a prediction. I'm just pointing out things that we were keeping in mind, only because, in my personal perspective, I kept seeing 322 and I don't know why. So I feel like with my knowledge, it might be because I'm alert, I'm aware of something that is yet to happen. That's all I'm saying. So this isn't fear porn, this isn't fear mongering, this isn't anything like that, and I'm not confirming that I'm predicting anything. I'm just saying that I think it's interesting, and I don't know if anybody else is, maybe, and then all of a sudden maybe someone watch the video and it'll be what it's meant for, and someone might go, holy crap, well, I've been seeing 322 as well. That's really it. It's just that I'm making this video because I feel it's interesting and I want to know why I've been seeing 322. And by recording this 2 days prior to that day, if something does happen, I can at least have, there you go, this is proof. And, my intuition, these things, now I'll know how to see it for myself. But I want to make this recording so that I'm down recording saying, because I haven't told anybody, and it's been happening a lot, really, really rapidly, all the time for the past couple of days, without, I don't, try, you know what I'm saying? And now, this number is then it hit me, and it's about to be revealed in our date. Date is coming up that will be 3/22/2018, so it's quite possible that on that date, the Masonic Skull and Bones order of elite people in our society are planning something, some type of celebration or ritualistic celebration on that day, which might result in them celebrating behind the scenes while they cause some type of mass death or just some type of thing going on that day. It is going to be the day, their day, okay? This is the day, that day coming up, March 22nd, okay, will be the day of the Skull and the Bones. And I just want to make that very clear because it is quite possible that these elitist, sick bastards will do something on that day. We don't know. No one knows. But I'm just, like I said, because I've been seeing it, I feel like it's interesting. I want to make this video so that if something does happen, again, I'll know why. I'll know why I felt I was seeing it. You know what I'm saying? But if anyone else is seeing it, please let me know if this is something that, all of a sudden you've been seeing a lot. Because I've been seeing it a lot lately. And again, I don't know why. I just know that I'm aware and I'm attuned to picking up on these things, but it's quite possible that I'm meant to see it. And I think maybe more people will be shown the same number because they're meant to see it, and we will all be making predictions or, just putting our voice out there so that we are known. We are known in that we felt something was off about it, or there was a reason why we saw it. So again, all in all, that's weird. Okay, so all in all, you know, again, I'm not making any predictions, but it's quite possible that something could happen. That's weird. Was that the East Coast? That's the East Coast. You got it's Massachusetts, so was that New Hampshire? I don't even know. It's both New Hampshire. I don't know. I just typed 322, and that's where it's showing of all the United States. That's weird. Huh. It was originally right there. This fucking place. That's originally where I'm from. Freaking Indianapolis, Indiana. And then I moved out of the United States. Went backpacking from Indianapolis, somewhere Missouri. Forget where it was. I went down here. Began with the P. Where's it? There it is, Pierce. I remember stopping there, Pierce City, at one point. Made my way down, cut across through there. It was fucking a while, obviously, a couple of years ago, a few years ago. Down through there, Minneapolis, I kind of cut across. Remember I was in Utah, went through Colorado, backpacking, did some rock climbing. Came across, I'm not going to show like my exact route. I tried skipping Las Vegas, but it was difficult because at one point or another, you know, the roads out there, and you just don't want to just wander off. So I mainly stuck to the roads, and Las Vegas is like that route, you know, it's like that vein. Of course, it's such a main attraction, popular. It's inevitable. You get smack dab right there. So I remember I was trying to cut across when I was in Utah. I remember trying to skip it, but there was no, again, the way it's designed. And I was listening to locals and stuff, and, you know, it was inevitable, especially when it got so fucking hot, you know, and you're hitchhiking, you know, from time to time. I remember getting picked up by this family. The kid was like 15 or 17 or something like that, and it was a mom and a dad, and they were doing a trip. They were originally from Utah. They were going down to Las Vegas or something like that, and they were going to go visit parks and stuff. If I had kept going, I would have just backpacked through like all of this open land and shit, maybe come across a few small towns, but it would have been difficult, and then I would have been like stuck between here. You know, all of here would have had to pass through the Death Valley, so it's just very difficult going through this forest land. So it was inevitable. I tried avoiding Las Vegas. I hated that. I think I spent a day there, and it was awful. It's the worst. But anyways, successfully backpacked through there, no problems. Obviously had to go through here. Kept going down Route 15. Then I met up with these kids. They were around my age at the time. They were in college. It was spring break. And ended up going to Los Angeles. From there, went through California a little bit. Saw some things. Met some people. I did some things too. I have a few, I guess you would call, like, you know, dead drops in the spy world, where I set up various places in California, kind of interesting notes and pictures, footage, and things. Yeah. It's pretty weird. That I think that was like the most weird experience. Kind of confirmed. It was at the point in my research when I actually was going out to do research and kind of experiment and see things in real life, figure things out. I went a little bit too far with some of the things I was looking into, and yeah, it was pretty bad. But it wasn't like, what I saw didn't involve any high profile people, unfortunately, but what I saw confirmed a lot of my suspicions about what goes on in the entertainment industry and things like that. And I tried reporting some of my findings to the police. That didn't work. And anytime you walked into a police station, I remember walking to a few police stations somewhere in this area, I believe at that point. Maybe it was between here, maybe it was between Sacramento. I forget. But it was somewhere in this area here that as I was continuing my journey, they were too busy. You'd walk into a police station and it'd be completely packed, or, there wouldn't be many people because a lot of the officers were just out, and it was just kind of a mess. So I left things. I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to get them, but I left things, and I feel like after all this time, they're not that important, and I'm pretty sure the people that it involved, to be honest, they're not even around anymore. They're just fucking nobodies at this point. But yeah, it was interesting. I was very close at one point. I almost, following this group at one time, I managed to blend in with a crowd of extras on a studio, on a set. I don't know if it was for a TV show or what, but it was in this lot, and I tried getting in and finding my way back scenes, and I was walking around this studio lot for quite some time, and mostly it was just things going on, like there's just, you could see the prep for props and costume design, and there was a bunch of people, and you could literally kind of walk around, meander around, if you acted yourself and you didn't make yourself look suspicious or anything. And I walked around for about, I think, a good half an hour in this studio set. I think it was for a TV show at this point. I'm not sure what it was, but it was a TV show. I didn't recognize anybody, so again, it could have been anything. I have no idea. It could have been a reality TV show. Most of the people looked unimportant. But at one point, because where I was, the studio was next door to another studio, and I think there was a movie being done, and I think it was a movie either being directed by Spielberg, or what was the other one that's like Spielberg? The other big, forgetting his name. But it was a big movie, big budget movie, and the security was fucking tight. But I remember being at one point while I was just kind of standing by. This is when I eventually got caught, because it was like, walking around for 30 minutes is fine, but the moment I was at this chain link fence, and it was the one area where there was a slight separation between that studio and the other studio that was right next door. And of course, soundproof walls are up, and you got multiple things going on, different studios recording and stuff. Oops. And what was that? And basically, I peeked over and I was trying to look around. I'm not saying I saw anything, obviously, but it was when I was looking around trying to peek into that's when someone came up and was like, they had like a clipboard or whatever, and there was a security guard with them, and they're like, "Who are you with?" Because I think at that point, I looked back to where it was, and there was like so many people that were just like all moving around and stuff, and there were still people moving, but it was mostly just like the crews that worked behind the scenes, moving props in, moving props out, cleaning things up or whatever. And I guess at that point, most of the people that were supposed to take their places took their places, and so this security guard and someone with a checklist or whatever was making the rounds. And that's when I was just like on the chain link fence, like, "You're not supposed to be in here." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "You're right, I'm not. I'll leave." Got escorted out. Luckily, it was polite, and I think if I had snuck on to maybe a more lucrative, like if I wasn't, say I was next door doing that, I'm sure it would have been treated a lot differently. But it was probably a low budget kind of show, just a TV show. No one that was like super important or anything. Like I said, I didn't notice anyone of any familiarity the whole time. Um, and that was that. Got pushed out. And then I think I stayed in a hotel somewhere in Sacramento, maybe past Sacramento. But basically the rest of my time, I backpacked up through here, all the way up to Portland. And my initial plan was to go to Seattle because I wanted, back in 2012, there was like a huge parkour surge back when, the American Ninja Warrior and all this other stuff kind of picked up. And I think that at that point it moved to the United States, but there was Jump City Seattle. There was like other things, but Seattle, Washington, there was a lot of people who, did parkour. A lot of people came from California and other parts. Seattle, Washington. I just remember there was a lot of tracers and people who did parkour over there, and still to this day. But I wanted to go there. But what happened was my plans were to leave the country because I felt like something was going to happen a lot sooner than did, other than all these isolated incidents. But I just knew that, whatever was going to happen in the future, this country, our country, whatever, the United States, was going to get worse. But what I did was Portland, Oregon. I found there was like a shipping thingy, like a port or whatever. And there's, Portland was, again, Portland. There, instead of going to Seattle, my initial plan was to go to Seattle and try to see as far as I can go. Obviously, Vancouver, main city right here, I figured that a lot of the border patrol would definitely be around here. Vancouver is, whatever. So I probably would have went here, spent, maybe about as much as a week here, and then I was going to move back and try to find some place over the border to sneak into Canada, basically, and try to just stick it out in Canada for a few years, somewhere in the woods or whatever, or just find my way into life in some small town or some city or something like that, if I could find it, and just make it as if nothing ever happened. Try to just keep a low profile as long as possible. Initially, though, I was going to try to sneak into Canada, find my way up into Alaska as quickly as I could before I got noticed. That way I'd still be in American territory. And then from there, it was just a matter of getting the seasons right. As long as it took to get from Indianapolis to all the things that I did and then things that I got sidetracked with, the season started changing, and it would have been like a situation like, what's that movie? With the kid, the famous, he went up to, Alaska, and he stayed in Alaska. It was obviously spring or summer in Alaska, but then he got trapped. Yeah. So I didn't want to have any kind of situation like that. It was going to be difficult, but I was trying to do that. Because I felt like if I could go to Alaska, with smaller populations towards here, I was going to catch a shipping route. I was going to see if I can get on board a cargo ship and make my way across the Bering Strait or wherever the cargo shipping went to. Oh, I don't know if they run ships, but that was my plan. That was my idea. I figured there was even cruise lines or whatever, and I was going to sneak onto something like that. And I was going to try to make my way into another country, possibly, when they stopped to port. I was basically sneaking my way along through. Obviously, the story didn't end there, because where I'm at now, I'm not going to say, but Portland, Oregon is where I was, and that time of the season, I wanted to check out because I was like, oh, I'm in Portland. You think there would be more of that because for namesake, in this state than anywhere else. And I actually was lucky enough to find something and convinced, I don't know, I was talking to crew and I was talking to people who worked at the shipyard and all that stuff, and, cargo and stuff. And I volunteered, my hand to be a deckhand, volunteered. They were polite. These people are, maritime, guys. They're mostly always out on the sea. and wanted, if I could speak to a captain or someone, in charge of that stuff. And of course, most of the people I talked to turned me down. Most of the people were too busy to talk to me. I found one that they were doing just about to head out. Kind of, most of the people were coming in, and I think that's why I was getting a lot, because if it was something that was just going out, they probably, all right, let's go. But most of the people didn't want to wait that long, because then they, would have to really, all that stuff. But I talked to the captain basically of this cargo ship, this person, and James, I forget his last name, was something. I don't even know if he was from the United States, but again, he was coming in, and I think maybe that's another reason why I was allowed, because they were just at port, on basically unloading, and I managed to talk to some of the crew. I don't know where it was, but managed to talk to them, figured out a little bit about myself. They knew I was an American citizen, all that, and had my ID on me at the time. Showed that to them. Convinced them, that, if I could just go on to see volunteer my services wherever I might be needed, that said that this was the kind of way I wanted to hitchhike, and go to another country. And checked his manifest, checked his crew, all that stuff, set me up with a cot in one of the cabins or whatever. And it was literally like, as I remember there was a TV show, and of course, you have like Walter Mitty. It was like one of those situations. Like I lied about a few things, obviously, because I was adamant about getting on this ship. And, I had identification on me at the time, and I was in my 20s, and, he said, well, what can you do? And I told him a little bit about myself, how I grew up and stuff like that. And so I was on the ship, and he wanted to show me around a little bit so that I knew, what was what, where not to go, what not to do. Basically, I was just helping with dishes and doing odd jobs on the ship. And I literally was able to pull my weight doing that. And I'm not going to say where it went, but I am out of the country and have happily been out of the country for all this time. Now it is 2018, so yeah, 5 years, about 5 years. Yeah. So that's good. And yeah, that's about it. But I keep in touch. Definitely want to know what's going on, because still have family in the States. Like the YouTuber that I mentioned, I think in a previous video, as of recently, which I hesitated to do for a long time because we kind of wanted to keep our things separate. Me not being there and then that person being there, I didn't want the confusion to arise, and then cause any type of problem. But my musician better half lives here. Somewhere in this area. I won't say exactly where, but and yeah, my twin, basically. Not completely my twin. People say we sound the same as much, but we look different. We look a lot different. And it could just be our lifestyle choices or whatever, but we grew up apart for most of our lives. I think we were together up until we were both around 10. And we've been living separately for a long time. It's another reason we haven't talked to each other in a really long time. But I think it was around 2005 where both of us we met at a family party, and we got into talking about 9/11 and what we thought about it. And we started talking about some of the YouTube channels back when that was all new. And it was then that we both realized that even being apart, we still kind of shared similarities in how we thought about the world. But still from a different perspective, different motives. Whereas one of us wanted to do more for people and the other wanted to do more for themselves. Of course, that stuff started changing a lot more. For example, I like to do more for myself now. And I think that showed because I fucking up and left. I just try to do as much as I can for myself. Whereas he tried doing a lot more for others. initially started out doing a lot for himself, but now with the music and trying to start a t-shirt campaign, which again I posted in one of my videos, and that's another reason why we started communicating again. Doesn't, you know, I rarely, I'm out in the world, and I you know, try to make these videos as often as I can, but he is mostly out trying to do community things and just trying to, you know, on the low end, but every now and again it's like, you know, putting the word out there and trying to wake people up about stuff. But you know, his YouTube video style is, it's for me, but it's a gift. It's not me just saying things, just speaking my mind. Like, he does music because he feels like that's something that can benefit other people with his gift. So it kind of switched. But anyways, so yeah. But that's that, which is another reason why I still keep in touch about the happenings in and on the United States and of course other parts of the world. But my cover for a long time has been that I live in the United States, which I did, but I don't. So I will say that much. You know, honestly, I don't even care anymore because I'm still not going to say who I am or how old I am or any of that stuff, obviously. But literally, I don't care anymore. You know, things are happening all over the world. It's like, it doesn't matter where you are. I'm not particularly worried about anyone trying to find me or any of that stuff, obviously. But in a way, I'm cautious. In a way, I keep myself, you know, hidden. But, you know, I would almost think that it'd be ultimate and complete confirmation that if someone were to come after me, I say, let it happen. Good, by all means, you know, come get me. Because in many ways, you know, I've prepared for those contingencies. But in many ways, more so, it's like, it'd be confirmation that, you know, what I'm saying is valuable or what I'm saying is true. Again, it's like, you know, go ahead, you know, try to silence me or try to silence someone. Like, if that's, you know, all these YouTubers out there talking, you know, they're probably just targeted individuals. It's probably how they go about doing it now. I don't know if they actively send out agents or people to, you know, or just cause, you know, a certain amount of happenings in someone's life to make something bad happen, to try to get to them or silence them. You know what? But if it would happen, I would know for a fact, and I would have even more evidence to prove that there is a conspiracy, that there is something going on, and they'd be doing themselves harm by trying to come after me, because I would only have more proof and more evidence to be able to expose that there's something that they're trying to cover up. Or else, if I'm just some guy yabbing on the internet and most people don't believe me or even listen to my videos anyways, then why even rattle the cage, right? Why even shake things up? Why even draw any further attention? Because if the goal is not to draw attention to the people that are supposedly exposing your misdeeds, you know, why would the elite come and target those people? I think it would be really stupid and contradicting. It'd be very counterintuitive to do that. So I think that's another reason why most of these YouTubers are more popular than I am, and who have made a lot more videos and many times said a lot more. And give most of who they are away. And again, they could be already paid shills or whatever. But I think the reason why these people don't get targeted, or really they haven't been silenced, is because of, again, they would know that, yeah, it makes sense. If we're going to fucking target someone for, you know, saying things out loud, you know, trying to expose these conspiracies, but we want to keep up the idea that, you know, people already, on average, don't believe it, you know, because we've controlled it. We've made sure that people don't believe it, and people are too distracted and too busy. You know, I think that it would, you know, they know that it would be counterintuitive, and I don't think they want to draw any further attention into the people that they already have labeled whack jobs and nutcases and, you know, conspiracy theorists. I don't think they want to give them any kind of credence or credibility, you know, any kind of credibility. So, keeping on the low, but also pointing it out that I'm not afraid and I don't care. You know, I'm bored, to be honest, most of the time. I seek adventure and I wish to have some kind of excitement in my life. And I think it would be quite exciting if they sent a bunch of stupid people that they think are overqualified or even overly capable to try to come after me, because I would outsmart them 1,000 ways to one, in every aspect. I don't care how highly trained or intellectual someone claims to be. Anyways, I'm not going to go any further into that kind of stuff, but I really hope something happens. And I know it sucks to say, but I honestly do. Like, I really fucking hope something happens and everyone is just alert to the possibility that the world can change in an instant. Because I personally want the freedom to do more, to, things that I know how to do, things that I know should be done. I want an excuse to really, really, really gear up and do what I know is possible, do what I know is right, while everything else is happening around me, while it's not just another day. I feel like as much as I hate to say that, of course I don't want something to happen that's global, that's, the whole world needs to be worried about, like war or famine or disease or something. I still almost wish that it did, because I feel like, unfortunately, I have to agree, only because of how much they've dumbed down society and manipulated us. I mean, they might as well continue what they're doing, because, again, it is like Reagan said, and again, I know he only said that because it's part of their planning, but we can jump on that. We can hijack that train. We know that there's a certain point that we can target. But that means, that if we are, what's the word? It's a C word. If we are, whatever. But what I'm saying is, if we as a community are, if the truther community actually had financing and we were together, collective, like if we had our shit together, basically, then we could have efforts that could hijack, to know what points are weak, where to jump onto, to start turning them around. But we don't have a force out there. We don't have a police force. We don't have a military. We don't have any type of militant force out there that represents the truther community that is actual, or we don't have an intelligence agency. We need agents. We need people on the ground. We need active minds and bodies who can be the physical, who can be the actions to the words, to the beliefs. We need people who are trained and qualified, that can be a shadow force, a shadow militant force that can actively help people and save people in times of crisis, or even hijack, using that same mentality, using reverse psychology, hijack certain events and things and start turning them to our advantage, and just out of nowhere, underneath their noses, using their methods against them. And that's what I feel like. So I feel like I agree and disagree, but I feel like it's going to happen anyway. So why not just happen? We should come to terms with the fact that they are going to do something that the whole world is going to be witness to, that is going to be another part of their plan. And if it's going to be something along the lines of what they've been planning for so long, and kind of like what Reagan said, yeah, let it be that event that, if like, again, an enemy foreign or something, or whatever, the deception or whatever the fuck they're going to do. If there was something that could happen that could bring the whole world together in times of crisis, to separate all our differences and stuff. Because see, their whole idea is that through the New World Order they can achieve peace through one world government, all that stuff. But it's a different peace, okay? Knowing that event is possible, we need to have people ready, all over the world, that can jump on that train and hijack it, turn it around, that big event. And the reason why I'm saying I want it to happen is because with the whole world being shaken and woken up from their normal everyday 9 to 5, dumbed down, predictively programmed slumber, they still won't know what's going on, but they'll have some awakening, where their focus and their consciousness and their discernment and their concern is their attention is brought to whatever the event might be. whatever the Illuminati's planning, and let it happen. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they've already dumbed down the population so much so that they're just going to accept it anyways. They're going to do that. And so if it's going to happen, let it happen. But if we could have people in place, people who are capable and prepared to gear up or do something all over the world to find out what it is, to know the truth about where it comes from, what the end game is, why it's happening, to hijack that scenario or utilize the freedom that that scenario would give us to kind of navigate cities and towns and places in the world where everybody's in mass panic. We will have the calm and the focus and the understanding in the background to then go about manipulating our environment and gaining some type of advantage, some type of situational advantage. And the only difference is and the reason why I'm saying this is because if people truly care, if the truth community really cares and wants to help, then you think we would be doing that. But the real version of that would be the same thing that we're going to have to do anyways, knowing how distant we all are from each other. People are going to do the same thing, but they're going to be bugging out. They're going to be utilizing those moments to go head up in the woods somewhere, go to their fucking cabin or their bunker or whatever the fuck. But we need to turn that around. We need to realize that some of us should have the obligation, again, if there are any of us out there that are physically fit and who have done enough research and who are capable of actually being a fighting force in freeing up the minds and the lives of the people who would be the direct victims of whatever their plan is. We need that to happen. We need people like that. Okay? And so, in the same way you'd bug out and do that, turn it around and come back to help people. Now, I've already bugged out. You know what I'm saying? Some people have already bugged out. Will they have enough, maybe, some of them, they probably are already given up on it completely, where they probably completely already separated them. They don't want to hear anything. They don't want to hear news. They don't want to be tuned in. They don't want to look into anything. And, that's what I was going to do, but I felt like I was still compelled. I was still called to, keep an eye on the world and keep observing and not completely distance myself from civilization or any of that stuff. Because I want to be somebody in a position where I am in the world. I want to be somebody in a position who's going to be able to know what's really going on, know how to stop it, and might even be able to know how to turn it around and be like a guerrilla force, be like a special forces leader, and turn the people, change people, gather people, and help them to realize how to survive it, help them to realize what's really going on, and maybe start that. And if we had more people like myself in different areas of the world starting that, we could build communities in times of crisis that could survive and even be aware fully of whatever the disaster is, problem, reaction, solution. Which means we'd be able to if we could churn people and change people and at least get them to a safe place or educate them enough in that time to slowly, individually, in little isolated places, like their own isolated incidents, turn around, start creating our own isolated incidents in a global scenario where they're creating their isolated incidents in the world. So when it turns around, we need to go back and use their methods against them and reverse it. Constantly be an ebb and flow, constantly reverse everything they do, but using their methods against them. And if we were to create small isolated incidents and destabilize their plans and their attention, their drama in the little areas, the way that they destabilize us from our normal lives with the little isolated incidents, then I think we could rally enough people, educate them enough, get them secured enough to be able to refuse whatever it is that's going to happen. If it's going to be some type of culling, some type of, martial law around the world, some type of world war, some type of global mass chipping, RFID chipping, or whatever the fuck it's going to be, whatever the deception is, whatever the global catastrophe is that they plan to use to bring everybody together, to bring everybody looking on at the same thing or the same person or the same event, whatever that is going to be, however big it's going to be. I think if we could have enough people looking in the other direction who are now, while everybody's too focused looking up and just distracted, standing still, metaphorically speaking, we could have people who are looking down, looking around, and who are focused and using that time to build up a resistance. And I think that's the kind of outreach that I'm waiting for. And with all of my knowledge and gifts and things that I can't even begin to elaborate on in any type of words that I could just see as being possible. The quantifications of my intelligence, I can't even, people couldn't even grasp a single neuron of my understanding and my overstanding, and the capacity to which I'm able to see things and hear things and know things and create things, and what I'm able to do. I can only do. I can't, there's so much that I can't say that I wish I could, and this is another reason why I'm skeptical and hesitate making videos, because I don't make videos, and I don't ever get to just sit and say all that I want to say, because it's hard to do that, and I'm pulled away from that, because I feel like saddened that I'll never be able to fully, truly express my intelligence or all the things that I've been able to uncover over these years, or really show all my research or show all that stuff. I have all these lists, but I still can't do that. Here's just a small example. I remember I had way more than this. This list, I don't know what happened to it, but back in, all these say 2014, but that was not, this is when the bookmarks were all saved. Back 2014 was when I had a computer crash, and this data was pulled from an old computer, and so all of it was last modified 2014. But a great majority of my research and my learning, things that I was doing in my life, happened back in 4th and 5th grade, which was way longer than 2014. But anyways, this, at least is something to give you an idea of a lot of the stuff that I research. I mean, everything from chemtrails to psychology, or technology, psychology, you can, nutrition, okay, survival, tactics, militarization. I've learned and researched and gotten ideas in a broader perspective through a lot of the information in some of these videos, for example, that you're seeing here. But also through a lot of other things that I never was able to bookmark, things that just in between most of these I would see. But these are a lot of good videos, a lot of things to start with. I can read some of these titles if you can't see them, but we got things like, subliminal messages, researching different composites and materials and elements, nutrition. Dr. Russell Blaylock, that was a great video. It was about nutrition and GMOs, the dumbing down, the systemic and chemical dumbing down of society, which led me to Cheryl Ajibit and whatever, and all these other people, and looking at things like free energy. And I was researching chemtrails, I was researching into military technology, all kinds of, this thing, oh my god, oh geez, yeah, this thing's probably already out now. This was so, oh my god, I completely had forgotten about this, but this is the world. This is, holy shit, this, if you watch this video and you realize, holy shit, how long ago that was, this is probably already, I wonder whatever happened. Oh man, yeah, fucking the Argus, holy shit. All right, anyways, talk about, man, we have no idea. When you forget some things too, you almost have, no idea of the type of stuff that has really been going on, this type of surveillance, and how far along they are in New World Order, the things that they already have in preparation, like this fucking thing. I wonder if this video is even still up. How long ago was this uploaded? This 1.8 gigapixel Argus IS, the world's highest resolution video surveillance. DARPA. And DARPA's already doing a bunch of other stuff, so Man, how much this was? Okay, this was in 2013. Oh my god. Watch this fucking video, and you will realize that was then. Think about what's going on today now. Think about how much the technology's increased. Forget about 1.8 gigapixel. They probably have something else now. They probably only released this video because they had something else. That was back in 2013. So they could have drones flying overhead that could fucking pinpoint if you have a pen in your pocket, you know, from however many fucking miles in the sky. If you watch this video, you will see. Unfucking-leavable.
To know what is going on in any spot along the sim, I'd say, near this building at this intersection. We can generate a moving image that shows what's going on in the area.
Simply by touching the screen,
Person of interest
has opened up a window showing a detailed area, while still maintaining the broader context.
And you think, why would they show us this? Why would this even be allowed to be showed? If this is some secret military government technology, some project, why would this be showed? And that's because they already have something that's way more advanced than this, way more evolved, most likely. And this, you know, it's some.
Automatically tracked. The color boxes represent that the computer has recognized the moving objects. You can see individuals crossing.
This is this person of interest world. And again, correlating a lot of what I was researching and a lot of TV shows that were coming out, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal how they've been programming us and priming us for this world. And we don't even realize that most of what they're planning to do is right there in front of us in plain sight. And I'm telling you again, this is why I watch a lot of TV shows. This is why I watch a lot of movies, because every now and again, especially, they continue to show us, talking about everything from illusionism to tactics and the technology and how it can be used and surveillance things. You always get these, if you watch most of these TV shows, especially some of the ones, I think I made a video about some shows that I watched that particularly expose or in their plot lines talk about or have the use of advanced surveillance, or show the possibility of what certain technologies can do combined with other things and how they can be used either for or against people. And again, most of the same weaponization and reverse engineering has existed as far back as Da Vinci, and the knowledge and the mindset to take certain technologies and take incredible achievements and things and use them in different ways and in many different fields. It's applied sciences. So you have divisions of people who understand the use, the creation, the process, and you're talking about, this would be like an applied science, in DARPA's applied science division. How else could this technology be used? You know what I'm saying? And could it be changed? Could it be advanced? Could it be evolved? Could it be devolved? Could it be turned into other things? Could it become handheld? Could it be something that is now on a nano scale? You know what I'm saying? And how could it be applied? Everything from cameras and weapon systems and all of these things. How can all of these things be translated into whatever their goal is? DARPA is a research organization, military, aeronautic, secret, program, like, high-end government research program. So what else are they using this for? They're not using this for fun. This isn't a side experiment. And so my opinion here is, like, the fact that they were even showing this to us, similar to how you have TV shows and documentaries and things on the military channel and the history channel and other things that have been declassified. The reason why that happens, or to even happen at all, to think that, well, even if there is something better, why is this even showed at all? And I think it's you have to play, it's this give and take. You have to show something, especially in this country, the way we've been established. If you hid everything, then it would really be hard to keep things a secret. And the thing is, they have to show us because you have to have that level of content, where people are just content with the goings-ons of the world and the government, the possibilities. Because even still, there's a very small amount of people in the main scheme of things who even have the time or the capacity to do this kind of research at all. So you're getting, I mean, even look, this video has been out since 2013. It only has a meager 1 million views. Out of that 1 million views, keep in mind that there's probably, 60% of that is repeat viewers. I've probably seen this video 2 or 3 times. I've showed it to people. So you have to consider that it's not like when you look at views on a channel, it's like an individual number count. No, it's 557,796 views from anywhere from a couple 100,000 people or even close to 500,000 repeat views. So it's not an exact number of individual people. Whereas the likes and dislike count, that on the other hand, although someone, it could be the same person. I could have 2 accounts. I could have 3 accounts, and I could come on and watch all the same videos over the course of 3 different videos, or 3 different accounts, and like the thing. So a lot of times, even that shit isn't accurate. But that's probably the most accurate thing. So what are the odds that 339 people plus 4,563 people were the only amount of people who've ever watched this video? Give or take another couple thousand, who have watched the video but didn't either thumbs down or thumbs up. So all in all, what you have is like, even, so again, in this scenario, look, you have this technology being exposed, but still, not many people even seeing it. So really, when you think that, it's hard to wrap your head around why this stuff would even be shown to us in the first place, it doesn't matter. It's like that, it's just, they're going to do it anyways, whether they showed it or not. But again, the real thing to point out here is that they definitely have something new. That's what you have to keep in mind, is that they definitely have something new when they show this. And this is strike. 1 million terabytes a day, save forever? The fuck? And look, the U.S. Army, along with Boeing, has developed and is preparing to deploy a new unmanned aircraft called the Hummingbird. It is a VTOL UAS, vertical takeoff and landing unmanned aerial system. 3 of them are being deployed to Afghanistan for a full-year surveillance spot in Afghanistan from an altitude of 20,000 feet with the ability to scan 25 square miles of ground surface. And meanwhile, during Obama's presidency, over the United States of America.
Walking around, what kind of clothes they wear. And you could pick the location of where you produce these images anywhere in the entire field of view.
Antennatas can open up to 65 windows at once.
That's absolutely fucking
and can see
insane.
objects as small as 6 inches on the ground.
From even 17,500 feet, the white thing that you see flying around is a bird.
Argus streams live to the ground and also stores
This particular location, 3 days, 2 hours, 4 minutes ago, and it could actually show you exactly what happened as if you were watching it live.
move fast and keep
Unbelievable.
so videos.
Oh my goodness. And combined with the technology, especially if you've ever done any research into camera technology, because this was one of the things this video and a few other things started me on camera technology and surveillance, because I wanted to learn about everything I could possibly learn about surveillance systems, and all that stuff. And I've seen so many different types, and it's kept my interest in keeping up with current technology. Did you know that you can find the videos out there, there's new technology that even direct to consumers, okay? It's a freaking app on a cell phone. People can directly, on their own cell phones now, while they're recording a video, erase an entire person or an entire object, okay, from the recording. And the program will, in real time, has an algorithm that can trace that, and no matter what angle you take, the object is completely gone. So we're talking about this use of technology being so readily available, being possible, capable, especially when you have, combine that with the advancements in invisibility technology and cloaking and all these other different things. The elite can get away with just about anything. So even if you did catch someone on camera, there's even if no technology was used, no matter what you're seeing now, no matter what anyone claims to see, and this is another reason why it's going to